Well, welcome to Summer Fun Run. I am so excited. It is an honor to be here tonight with these lovely ladies, diamonds and above, friends, women that I admire and trust so much and respect. I almost feel like it's just a slight understatement because I have respected them for 7 years or more and watched them grow their businesses and seasons where it might be a summer, as in seasonally, or it might be a summer, as in a party in their business, or maybe it's winter, which it isn't right now, but maybe it could be in parts of our business. So, what we really want to do with this summer fun run is meet you where you are on your running journey. And it sounds funny because I'm a runner and I love running, and most of the people in my life don't. So, it's a little bit funny with the analogy. But for me, I'm a marathon runner. And so I always see a long distance goal. And a long distance goal was like 5 to 6 months. Okay. So the summer's 3 months. If you have just started jogging, okay, and you want to get to a 5K, maybe that 5K for you is one enrollment. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just you putting yourself out there and doing an Insta story or doing a Facebook Live or whatever it is, then it's going to seem like this summer season is long. So I want to just soothe both of those personalities and places in your business here. This is for you because we all go through different seasons of our running journey. And sometimes the running for us is a sprint, like an all out, we're at our max heart rate. And sometimes, guys, that run is like, I just need to put one freaking foot in front of the other. And I'm hopeful that my walking distance is enough to keep up with my expectations. Maybe it's just that. So, wherever you are, we want to meet you there. And if your pace is walking, that is absolutely okay too. We are here with you. We are here to meet you in that and share really 5 different things on each of these 2 Zooms in June that are going to help you in areas of your business. So, super wise Royal Crown Diamond friend Erin Rogers suggested that we do our best. Look at her. Suggest that we do our best to share with you guys and make it so that it is practical and that you can actually know the difference between each section. And the reason that's brilliant is some of you will want to know specifics on social media. Some of you guys are like, I'm amazing at that. What I really need right now is I do not leverage any tools. Like I just free flow. Or maybe you're on here, and this is me sometimes, where I can get really good in my early routine. But you know what I don't do? I don't talk one-on-one to my members, or I don't have a scale for where my people are at, right? Like we're all different. So we're going to talk about these 5 different areas, and we are going to do our very best to not just serve you and honor your time, but to add value that's going to have you at a different level in your running journey when you leave this tonight. So we are pumped and excited, and I want you to be too. So if you need to take a nitro, I mean, maybe you don't drink coffee, maybe you do, take your Ninja Red, maybe drink coffee, whatever you need to do, but get excited for what we're going to introduce you to tonight. And I would just encourage you to lean in and take notes and do whatever you can to pay enough attention that later on you can go back and really take these nuggets and fly with them. So we're going to be fast paced in our transitions, and I'm excited to hand it off first. We're going to be chatting about sharing on social media with my friend and Royal Crown Diamond, Erin Rogers.
Hi, friends. I'm very excited about this topic. Not because I always do social media well. I do not, but I am always willing to learn. And what I've loved about all of this content that we have for you in these weeks, I mean, I was just clicking through some of the last few posts and I was like, okay, what are the things that we have been asked? And I mean, I've not done them every day, but I've tried to do as much of them as I can in a given day. But like day 9 was share some organization tips in your life. Okay, that's not about oils, but whatever. Day 2 was post something you're thankful for. That was not about oils, but whatever. Day 8, what's a current project you're working on in your area of life? Do you have a deadline to finish it? Okay, that's not about oils. What are we doing here? And if you're thinking that, if you're watching this and you're like, I thought you guys were giving me ways to sell oils to people, we are. That is what this is. The beauty of social media is that if you are seeing it as simply a vehicle to sell oils, then you're missing the best part of social media, which is the connections and the relationships and the opportunity to just meet people, to connect with people who have similar ideas to you. And maybe your goals are wrong. Now, I know the whole point of this is to grow our businesses and to do all of that. But what I want you to do is I want you to look at these 5 things that we've given you each day. There are 5 different tasks. And as you go through each of these days, the more you do them, the more you'll see that they line up each day. There's a social media task, there's a prospecting task, there's a member task, there is oil routine, and then there's something regarding the Life Steps app. Every day, we're walking you through those 5 things. And so what I want to do tonight is not necessarily give you like the 411 on social media. Most of you guys already have access to Zooms like that we've all done for you a million times, literally together over the years, or just things from our groups. But what I want you to do is I want you to think about the process. Why are we having you do each of these 5 things? And I'm just going to talk about social media. So why are we having you do these sort of unrelated oily things on your social media? It's because the point of social media is making connections. Making connections is how we have the opportunity to sell oils, but we don't just get on social media to sell. That's not how that works at all. And just to give you an example, I will write up these like perfectly crafted posts about how an oil saved the day, or something that's like a little more like, hey, you should get some oils today, kind of that kind of deal. And they're like this. There's like not much traction going on, or it's leaders on my team who are like, those are the best. And I'm like, great, you're not who I'm talking to, but awesome. Thanks for, boosting my algorithms or whatever. Like, do that, by the way, when you see your friends posting things, comment and like say something, because it's going to boost their algorithms, and they're not trying to reach you, but it'll help them reach the people they're trying to reach. So do a friend a solid and help them out. But then you post the thing that is the real life, and that's where people jump in. So for just personal example on that, 4 days ago, I started a master cleanse. I made a huge big deal out of it on social media. I got a ton of people really excited to do it with me. I mean, I literally had like 20 people doing this thing with me. Dr. Jim Bob Hagerton is like leading us all through it. And I ended up not following the rules because I'm not a really good, like, read everything before you get started kind of person, and was so sick day 1 by like bedtime. So sick. I had to take ibuprofen to go to sleep. Like, what? Oh, she's an oiler. I can't believe she said that. No, I'm serious. Like, my husband was like, I'm very worried about you. I was like shaking. It was terrible. I had this like massive headache. It was awful. Okay. So I had just gathered people to do this thing. And I was like, I cannot finish this. This is not like get through it a bull. This is like, you need to stop. And so Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, it might've been Tuesday, I wrote this post and I was like, I'm a quitter. I quit the master cleanse. Here's why. Have you ever quit anything? There is still more traction on that post that I put on social media than anything I've done in like a month. I mean, that post is getting, why? Why did that get traction? That got traction because it was authentic. It was real. It was just me sharing stuff. It was me being a little bit vulnerable. It was me kind of admitting when I wasn't perfect, because what do we do on social media? We want to be like so perfect, and we do everything, it's like the perfect picture and the perfect whatever. And like, we like write this whole thing. And instead I was like, I'm terrible. And here's why. And everybody was like, I can relate. That's what we want to be doing on social media, is creating moments where people can actually relate to us. We want to have these authentic moments. And so, okay, sharing about organization and sharing about all of these other things may not actually feel like something that's going to lead you to have oily conversations, but it creates these conversations and these connections. And it gives you the opportunity to figure out where you can meet somebody else's needs. And I had the most awesome example of this today happen to me. I was dropping my kids off at school. My school's doing these little summer camps for the kids. And I was dropping them off, and I ended up talking to a ton of different mamas over the course of the next hour before I even made it to my car. And one of them was like, we had this long conversation about a whole bunch of stuff. And then she just goes, hey, I was meaning to ask you. And she proceeded to talk to me about a health situation that she had going on. And she was like, I feel like you're the person who could help me what do I need to be doing for this? And it was kind of a supplement question. And she's an inactive member on my team. And I was like, let me help you pop your account back up. Let's get you in there. I'm going to want you to get some Super B. And I think you need to get some RC for your daughter. And and we just sat there and created an order. And she has followed me. We don't talk much in person, but she has followed me very, very closely online through the seasons, through all the stuff. And she had a health situation that's actually been going on for quite a while, but I was the one that she wanted to talk to about that because she trusted me. She's seen that authenticity, that long-term consistency. And I know some of us have had a hard season and we're like coming back and getting excited about things again. So maybe you don't feel like you're the most consistent, but you still have laid the foundation of consistency. We want to pull that back into track. And so she saw that and she was willing to come back to me. I'm not even going to be the one to reactivate her. She's somewhere else on my team, but I'm so grateful that because I'm willing to be authentic about that journey. And as you do that, you will see people reach out to you with questions because they'll know if you can be real about stuff that's not always pretty, that they can trust you with stuff in their life that also may not always be pretty, and that you're going to be someone that they can come to in those moments. So as we're creating these connections on social media, that's what I want you to be thinking is how can you be authentic and approachable in the content that you are posting on there, because that is your goal. All right. So that's my few thoughts on social media this morning. You guys keep posting things because you are earning an audience and you're doing it the right way. All right. On to the next one. Ashley, who's up?
It's funny, it's me, and I feel like I just want to pass it to someone else, but here's why, and I want to be
Ashley, go. Okay, Ashley. Ashley, yeah, my dear friend, a diamond out of Virginia is going to teach us about, I think prospects is next. So
wait, maybe
is that right? No, wait, Nicole's doing prospects and you're doing members.
I'm doing member engagement because here's the thing.
No, Nicole's next, but whatever.
Oh,
I don't care.
Sorry. Following the document, people. Let's let Nicole go next because you have to have prospects before you have members. So I think that is a wiser decision. And here's what's super fun. And Nicole and Tracy, I'll say this when they both get on. I always love these Zooms when it's like 6 p.m. their time, because to me, it's a totally different mindset of what they're doing and like how that works. So whatever your time zone is, as Nicole starts, like comment that, because I just think it's a little bit funny, like to think about what's actually happening in your household when you're trying to like grind away on this business call. It just is super intriguing. I love you, Nicole. Teach us, lead us, and make us smile.
Hello, friends. How awesome is it to have this little summer crew back together again? Speaking of life, I'm on the West Coast, and I have a 5-month-old who is extremely vocal. I don't know where she gets that from. So if y'all hear that in the background, there's no taming her, which I'm glad. All right, let's talk about connecting with prospects. Y'all, I did not build on social media, so I'll be giving you some tips on how to do this in person, and then how to build and continue some of those relationships like what Erin was talking about. Just to like encourage y'all right out of the gate, I want y'all to really hear me say something, that your passion and love for people will trump just about anything in this business. If you truly like show up, Erin said, as your authentic self, and you show up and you're just like truly a genuine person with this desire to help people, you'll figure out answers to things. You'll figure out all the ways to talk to people. Like that will come with time, and people will be patient with you because they see your genuine care, they see your genuine love and all that. So I know Erin loves definitions of words. If y'all didn't know that, Erin loves when people define things for her. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I feel like sometimes in our industry, people get a little bit like salty about the word prospect. Like, I just don't like that word. I feel like it objectifies people. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the word prospect. The word prospect simply means that something is expected or there's a possibility. How fun is that? So when we see that word like prospect, let's get it in our head that we are talking to someone that has possibilities for great health, possibilities for their lives to be transformed, right? And suddenly like that word seems like really yellow and friendly and gives you all the feel good vibes, right? So 2 tips in talking to these people who have great possibilities for health and wellness in their life. The first one, this is a social media tip, and this is a great way to connect with people. And this might be an obvious, but I know there's some people who maybe like just got their kit last week and they are like first introduction to the business, right? I absolutely love and encourage other people to favorite 10 people on Facebook or do the same thing on Instagram if you are over on the gram. And then subscribe to all of their new posts. So every time they post, go in and truly interact. Do not give, oh my gosh, you're so cute. Oh my gosh, they're precious, like about their babies, right? Like I'm talking about genuine interaction, right? Like seeking to connect, to really find like that touch point that makes people feel seen, especially in like a world right now where people just want to feel connected, right? So what this looks like, think about this thought. Tell me more. This idea, tell me more. People love to talk about themselves and engage about their lives. That's why they put the post up, y'all. They wanted the likes, they wanted the interaction, right? So tell me a little bit more about that vacation spot. Were there any good restaurants? What were there, for your kids to do? I have kiddos the same age, right? Like just try to connect about that spot. Or where do you get your design inspiration for that super cute Instagram worthy house of yours? What would you call your style? Because you and your house inspire me. Like genuine like interactions where you're asking questions that are like then kind of forcing them to engage back with you. Or what have you tried or what's worked to get the baby to sleep or to train that rambunctious puppy or connect with your team, whatever those things might be, whatever like a topic is relevant. Basically what you're doing is you're just getting them to try to tell you more. Tell me more about this situation that we're in. And you don't always have to say, tell me more. That's weird too. Okay. Just be like real in your interactions, like be authentic. Like I am very curious about the details in your world. Okay. Again, I'm gonna stress it, be genuine. People see through the phoniness. And I feel like people's like phony radar is like on high alert in the last year and a half, right? They're like, I need truth. I'm gonna fight for truth. Okay. Side note, no. Okay. All right. My second tip is for conversations one-on-one or in private messages. And this is a game changer. This was a game changer for me and my business. And it helped me to stop word vomiting. If y'all can't tell, I'm a blue. I'm like a blue with like a wing blue with a little bit more blue added in. And then there's some red sprinkled on top. And that's about it. Okay. So instead of me being overly excited and being like, oh my gosh, Rebecca, and like throwing all the words at these people, this really helped me. So somebody reaches out or we get this conversation going about health and wellness. Have an approach that seeks to understand people's unique concerns, again, through learning to ask questions. Questions will keep the word vomit from flowing freely, okay? All right, so somebody comes out and they say, hey, I'd love more information on how to get my baby to sleep. Y'all can tell where I'm at in my life right now, right? So I'm like, all right, tell me a little bit more about what this looks like for you. Because a baby not sleeping could be the baby doesn't fall asleep initially, the baby wakes up in the middle of the night, right? Give a little bit of like, get a little bit more context from them. So when they tell you more, show compassion. I am so sorry. I remember those days. Those days are hard. Those days are long when babies don't sleep, right? Like show that connection, connect with them, relate to them. Like I have, like, if you're like, I have no clue what you're talking about, like you can say like, I don't understand, but would you help me to understand a little bit more, which is your next question. So very powerful. Tell me a little bit more about how this is affecting your life. So new mama here, right? Well, I'm not getting any sleep. And so I'm really short-tempered with my other kids. I am not like, I don't feel very much energy, right? This is how people would engage with me. So again, show compassion in your response. I love voice memos. Doing all of this through text is a little bit tricky. You switch to voice memo, they get to hear your voice. They get to say, oh, wow, there's that person. I get to hear Carrie's compassion. I get to hear Carrie's connection as I'm talking with her, right? And so then I would just say, based on what you shared, here's what I would recommend. And I only give the max of 3 recommendations right out of the gate. Like here, like I would try peace and calming, maybe some copaiba and valor. Here's my experience with those oils for a baby that won't sleep. I don't know if it will work for you. I can't make any guarantees, but mama, I would love to see you sleep some more. I would love for you to feel more rested and for you to feel more energized. What did I just do there? I repeated back to them the effect that their health issue is having on them. So they communicated to me how it's impacting their world. So they begin to sell themselves, right? Then I repeat it back to them. This is what I desire for you. And they're like, yes, yes, that's what I want. Like, very rarely do I have someone who's not like, okay, yes, how do I make this happen? That's genuine connection. And that's being relatable and having that moment where that person feels seen and heard. And it's not just about getting them like to this ultimate sale, right? Like this, like, oh, let me sell you all the things. And quick tip, then I'll pass it off. Don't decide somebody else's budget for them. If they're really overwhelmed, they're like, listen, I have major digestive issues and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, you need digestive enzymes, you need Life 9, you need Ningxia Red. Like, I'm not going to limit it to just like 3 puny little products because I'm scared about budget, okay? Don't decide somebody else's budget. If somebody's desperate enough for their health to be transformed, they will throw money at it. They will sell things on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace to make it happen, okay? So there it is. Blue, wrapped up. I think I did it in like 7 minutes, which is what we were allowed. But up next now is Ashley. And Ashley is super fun, super energetic. I love the culture that she's built within her team. We've been able to work together recently, and that's been a ton of fun. So Ashley, it is all you, member connections.
I don't know why, but going after you, I feel even bluer. And I am a red blue Enneagram 3, which makes me feel like I'm more red. But it's just funny because when I'm around people that are fun, I feel like I become way more fun. So I always tell people, they're like, you like to have fun? I'm like, yeah, only if I'm around those types of people. If I'm around not those types of people, I become like super focused and find all the problems and want to fix them. I am saying that as leading into it because I think for a lot of us, this next topic of member engagement is one that I want to invite you, and I want you to hear me very clearly. I want to invite you to look at this topic with curiosity and outlook of discovery and seeking. And maybe those all sound the same, but part of that will resonate with each one of you differently. Because for me, when I'm curious, I'm excited. And maybe a great way to put it is I'm a little flirtatious, and I'm not talking about with the opposite gender. I'm talking about with like, I'm like, oh, well, I want it to like me. Like, I want this to work. Like, I want it to, I want there to be a second time that we're able to do this kind of event. I want us to talk again on the phone. I want them to show up again. So with that being said, what I don't want you to do for the next 5 minutes is say, I suck at member engagement. No one shows up. No one comes. I'm down 50% on my attendance. And by the way, the 8 members I have, only one calls me back. Like, that's fine. Because I hear you, sister. Like, I hear you. I don't want to pretend like there's not an elephant that might be in some of your rooms or closets or cars, wherever you're doing this from. But what I want you to do is be curious right now. So be curious, as in think about what has worked for you in the past 3 months. I guarantee there's one thing that you're like, ooh, and lean into that. Because as I tell you some things that have worked for me, and then I've learned from others that I've used, right? Because we don't always know these things on our own. We learn from each other, and we also learn as we go. So if you're holding back and waiting to talk to your team that isn't on the Zoom tonight, I want to encourage you. They're probably also waiting for you to talk to them. They're not going to tell you why they weren't able to come. They're waiting for you to engage with them. They're waiting for you to be curious about their life. And even if it's something that's personal and you're like, I'm not that person, like I didn't want to ask them, they're probably waiting for the connection. They're waiting for the relationship that's going to be one that's a leader. It's going to be one that's a friend, or maybe it's simply one that's going to walk with them through an inconsistent communication period. If you are not like me, that might not resonate, but I am someone, and I will raise my hand if you are like this, that's fine. I am super inconsistent. There's some people that I love and adore, and I might not talk to them every week or every month. But when I need consistency, I want to walk with them. I actually want to stay more consistent with them. And I want us to be able to do this together in our summer run and in our winter run and in our life stage runs as we move forward and do this business for life. Young Living and your members you're going to reach out to, I want you to have an attitude of gratitude for them, of course, but I also want you to remember that you are in this for life and expect that they are too. You are in this for life. Expect that they are too. Even if they're not on ER, even if they've never shared with someone else, even if they've never spent 300 PV, expect that they are committed to their health enough that they are in this for life, which means when you talk to them and mentor them and help them with health plans, you are talking to someone that has a mindset of a non-toxic lifestyle, that has a mindset that this is for them and that they're taking baby steps on their way to a journey of full health and of being empowered and of empowering others, even if it's not by sharing and living, but by the actions they take from social media or from their lives. So just some realistic tips. This one is my favorite tip ever because it overwhelms me and I want it to not overwhelm you, but I want to be really like shoot from the hip with this. People want one-on-one interaction. Like that's what they want. And my biggest like takeaway from this season of summer running is people want me or you. And I want you to say this out loud. People want me to help them. Like people want me to help them. And I want you to say it to yourself in a mirror on this Zoom screen. But here's the thing, the people that are in your organization, it's not a need because some of them might not actually need it, but they want it because they desire connection. You are a connector. You would not be on this call and showing up for yourself if you were not a connector. So what I mean by you're a connector is remove they're my personally enrolled, they're in a leg I need volume, like all these things that are like these like, whoa, like things that limit what we do in our business. We, right now, the thing that's working for me, for you, and for really anyone I have talked to is being present with the people who want your help. And I mean, doing a call, doing a Zoom, meeting with them every other week. I am telling you not to do something that's going to stretch you so thin you're not able to keep up. But when someone asks you a question about their hormones, I want to encourage you and challenge you to not respond with like a typical response. Here's the 3 products I recommend. Here's a recorded call. You know what they want you to do? Hey, Tina. Yeah, so glad you called me your lunch break. Tell me all about what's happening in your body. And guess this. This might sound cheesy to you, but guess what Tina does? Tina's like, I don't poop, I'm not having sex, and my hormones are off. And you're like, oh, well, that's like all of those things suck. So let's work on them one priority at a time. So she says those. And then she also says, my college age son is just having a lot of anxiety. And my neighbor has this dog. It comes in our house. We're really close friends and it has fleas. Okay, real random. The whole thing is you had a 5-minute conversation and she told you this. So guess what you do? You can use tools. And a couple of my friends on here have tools you could use, but I will say for me in that moment, the best thing for me to do is a piece of paper or an email if it's a phone call. I email them what they say to me. I'm like, hey, Tina, so glad to talk to you today. Here's the 5 things you said you were concerned about. Here's the things we talked about. I did this 3 times yesterday. And guess what they do? They copy and paste in the search function. And yes, we'll talk more about my well and bundles and how to do it so it's easier. But these are for existing members. They literally just take the list and they buy it because they're like, we talked about digestion, we talked about hormones, we talked about dryness and sex, we talked about like we talked about this stuff. And they wanted a quick and easy thing that wasn't what I used to do. So, I mean, some of us have done other things before. I've done 3-month wellness plans. I've done longer term things, but they wanted like now, here's where I am, Ashley. I am either inactive or I haven't ordered in a lot of months and I want your help. So I want to encourage you. I know this is not concise, but my really number 1 tip, and I'll give 2 quick more ones before I hand it off. My number 1 tip is be personal with people. Do not look if they're your rank 127, which would be awesome. Or not rank, I'm sorry, level 127. And do not worry if they're personally enrolled. Don't worry if they have a platinum and a gold and 18 silvers and 48 senior stars between you and them. Like, who cares? You are here to love and serve people. And when you love and serve people and you show up for them, they are going to shine and show up for themselves and their personal life and their families and their communities and their jobs. And guess what that's going to make them do? They're going to show up in your community, but that's not first to them. That's not first to them. So you make them a priority, and eventually you'll see them make this community a priority for you. Second tip is really quick. Communicate in varied ways. Communicate in varied ways. Email through the virtual office is free for all of us. It's actually a free way to communicate. There's tons of paid ways I communicate with people. Through text message, I mean, maybe not calling them is paid, but I don't do that en masse. My time, maybe one-on-one, I would say, it's not paid, but it's a big amount of time. And, we can all equate that to money. But what I want to encourage you with in a simple way is figure out how to do it in varied ways where you're not measuring the outcome off of your text messages or just your emails or just how many people show up to an in-person class or show up to Zoom. Because we all have a different way we want communication. So do your best to honor and serve people where they're at. And finally, the third thing, and it is so fun, don't let it overwhelm you. Send out some freaking happy mail. I don't like this. Raise your hand. Actually, sorry if this sounds negative. Raise your hand if you don't like to send things out. Because that just I feel like that's more normal than people who are like, I love packages. I don't like it. I'm not excited. I'm so excited to sign these postcards, to write these notes. I'm so pumped about making these samples of, our insect repellent. That's not usually how I feel. I usually feel neutral where I'm like, I will make these because it'll help me. But I want to encourage you, play your favorite songs, worship songs, happy dance songs, whatever it is, guys. And you address those postcards. I want you to handwrite them. I'm telling you, I handwrote 240 postcards, addresses, return addresses, personal note. And you know how good I felt? I was like, these people love our oils. That is what I said to myself. And here's the thing. Guess I don't have a ratio, but guess what? People responded more in text messages, project broadcast, Instagram, Facebook from my handwritten hot freaking mess. Genuine addressing of a postcard, the same way they would if I've sent them a free book or a free bottle of oil. So that's just my third and final tip for you. If it's to 2 people or 20 or 200, give all of yourself to Happy Mail. Just do it. It could be one time, but try it and then look at the results and measure it, not by did people now buy things? No. Measure, did people either say thank you or I loved it or they shared on Instagram. So let's just have fun with that. And I went over my time. Someone should cut me off. I should not be allowed to host again. Maybe on the 24th, we will have a timekeeper. But guys, I want to encourage you, be your authentic, genuine self with your member connections right now. Automatic and everything being timed and the same for all of them. At this point, we've all been so much virtual that I feel like people don't want that. That's not what they appreciate. That's not what they show up for. And I guess I just said I would hand it off, but I will say we are having some gatherings at my house that are casual, that Rachel Rhodes that's on here has encouraged us to have casual, no agenda, no outline of the night. And it's 3 hours of hanging out, and people really like it. And here's the thing. Try things. And if you fail, you're failing forward and you're learning with your member engagement, because you have to figure out what's going to work for people where they are right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hand off. I'm so pumped to hand this off to Lindsay. So Lindsay Gramont, I love being with you. So she is my upline Royal Crown Diamond, and I also have not seen her in person, just like everyone else, forever. So she is going to share about a routine in her life that involves your living products. And the value added with this is most of us fail at this before we ever realize we're failing. So I want you to have that mindset as you think about it. We don't remember that we're not doing something we should do. So thanks, Lindsay.
Hey guys. Well, I'm hoping I can get through 7 minutes without coughing, because I've had a little bit of a cough and a voice thing going on the past couple of weeks, but I'm feeling good. I'm going to be able to get it done. Speaking of oily routines, I think that it's so important to realize and just take a moment for all of us to just be so thankful for how blessed we are that we are a part of a company and that we have the ability to be able to help people, just like Ashley was saying, like that we are the person that people want help from, because there is so much confusion and confusing information out there. And it's hard to get information right now. So I think these one-on-one connections are super important, but there's two sides to that around oily routine that I think we often forget. The fact that we have to take a step, to call someone, and maybe we don't prefer to do that, or even take a step to execute on sending a ton of packages. We don't prefer to do that. Or maybe we think, that people don't want us to engage and connect with them, that we aren't worthy or deserving of that conversation. These are all even more reasons to be consistent with certain oils that maybe you have forgotten about. There were things that maybe you saw someone like one of us 3 years ago post about, the happy protocol from Gary, and you did it for like a few days. And you have those oils, you have those 4 oils, but you kind of just don't use them. And this is something I started to think about a number of months ago. It was like, I definitely have felt down, this has all been very tough. And, it's just like, well, I need to be more consistent with my happy oils, and I've never been an unhappy person. I'm not unhappy, but it's just kind of like, well, if I'm feeling that way at all, then I have the tools to be able to fix this problem, And so I brought like a little bucket here of a bunch of different things to talk to y'all about. But I mean, if you don't know what the happy protocol is, I mean, that's like first and foremost, I think those 4 oils are going to help anyone to be in a state of mind to help with any number of things, whether that's reaching out to, new prospects, existing members, just being normal with your family and dealing with the stress of, what we're all going through. So day-to-day stress, I mean, the happy oils. So Valor, put it on, go grab these 4 oils if you have them. If you don't, then I would encourage you to really experiment with this, because an oily routine isn't just, kind of the typical things you think about sometimes. Sometimes you need to pick something and really stick with it for a while. And it needs to become something that allows you to do everything that every single person before me has talked about on this call. Because you need to be brave, you need to be vulnerable, and you need to bring energy. And if you can't do any of those things right now, then your business is going to feel super hard, right? And we don't want it to feel hard, because if it feels hard, then that's what's going to be exuding from your whole being when you engage with someone, because it shouldn't be about pulling teeth. It shouldn't be hard. And the only reason it feels hard is because you're not focused on the reality of the weight. I sometimes feel like it's like the weight of our ability to raise people up and help people. There is so much out there right now to be afraid of, or to be fearful about, angry about, confused about. People are tired of those feelings. And every single person on this call, I know, has the ability to be uplifting. And that is what people are looking for. So first and foremost, they're looking for a connection, a one-on-one connection. They're looking for help. But I think what they're looking for is someone to bring something positive into their life. So that's why I love the happy protocol, because if I'm going to be someone who is going to bring positive energy to a one-on-one conversation, then I need to be feeling harmonious and positive myself, or else that conversation is not going to go well. And I have experienced that in the past year, and maybe some of you have also. But it's really difficult to reach out to someone and be like, how can I help you, if you aren't feeling in a place where you can help even yourself, right? So that is a huge thing that I dove into a number of months ago, is getting back into using just the simple happy protocol because Gary developed it for a reason, and we can get all fancy and adding all these other things in. And that's fine. but I had to get back to that. Valor, white angelica, joy, harmony every day. Okay. The other thing is, I think, supporting, if you want to bring energy to the equation, then you need to evaluate where you are with energy. There are so many people I've talked to lately who are struggling with their thyroid, for example. And that's something that was going on with me. I had gained like 15 pounds over the past year. That was like, I looked at, food and I was gaining weight, and it was like, okay, I'm over 40 and I've had 2 kids, and, like all of these things were not good excuses. Right. And I was just like not willing to accept them. And, it really got me back to the roots of where I started with my whole natural health journey, which was around diet and food. And over 40 is not a good excuse. Exactly. So you really just have to remember, like, where did you start in all of this? What was your kind of pressing issue that really drove you to think about being, into natural health, being non-toxic, being crunchy, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of go back to that place, because that is when you were so energetic and so connected with how you were educating people, right? And it's like we get so far removed from that moment that we forget why we do the things we do. And, for me, it's like, dairy was a huge issue for me a number of years ago, but I thought I had fixed that problem, right? And I was like super happy to have fixed that problem and able to eat cheese and drink raw milk again. And then to have it come back and be like, no, my body was like, no more dairy again. It really made me remember, stress can cause leaky gut. And so a lot of people are under this undue stress right now. So people are going to be experiencing really wonky things with their body, and they may not realize that it's coming from the fact that stress caused their gut to be damaged again. Maybe, they just didn't even think about that. And it was something that slapped me really hard in the face. And I did lose those 15 pounds in 6 weeks by just really working on a diet that worked for me, taking out the things that were really inflaming my body and figuring out what that is. And that's different for everyone. But I thought, well, it's my thyroid or whatever. And sometimes people want the easy button. Oh, I can just take, 2 Thyromin and I'll be better, right? Like that's not always the case. And so that one-on-one discussion, that one-on-one connection with people, I think is super important. Now, on the topic of posting about these things, being vulnerable, talking about your routine, I think that the only way you can truly help other people is not knowing everything, because there's no way that we would ever know everything. But being able to share what you do and knowing that what you do is more important than any random education series that you could cut and paste and share. Most people don't really care about the fancy pictures and the whatever. They want to know what you are doing, what you're dealing with. And they want to know your stories. And so I think it's really important. We all already said some really good things that Ashley drove you guys to say around that other people want you to help them. They also want to hear your stories about your oily routine. And it doesn't matter if it's as simple as the concealer you're wearing, or if it's, using Valor every day, whatever. It doesn't matter. They just want to hear your story. They don't want to hear someone else's story. They want to hear yours. And so you need to feel worthy enough to share that story every day and to really dive in to what your routine is every day and how that changes and evolves, and just reconnect back into what got you into natural health early on, what you were excited about, what your original story is and was, and sharing that with people again and connecting to that moment and to that sense of energy that you had, because it will remind you how impactful our products have been. People really should be, we should all be very thankful that we're with a company like this, where somebody can check out of the business, check in and out, but they're still ordering. They still really care about their health. That's what you can connect people to at any moment. Doesn't matter the season. So I'm sure I probably talked way too long and I didn't cough. So I was super happy about that. But I am going to hand it off. I know, not one single cough. I'm about to now. I'm going to hand it off to who's next. Is it Danette? No, you're on the next one. Who's next? Am I the last one? That Life Steps app? Well, I'll hand it back to Ashley.
Well, this is funny. I'm like, hand it back to me so I can hand it to Tracy. And I just feel like I want to say something about this. When you are on Zooms, what I want you to envision is looking around and seeing friends. So some of you guys, you're like, that's what I'm doing right now. But if you're not, this is part of what we do. It is getting our friends to do it with us. I don't mean like your BFF since you were 5. I mean friends as in like online friends, neighbors, like people your kids do activities, like getting people around you that you like, either online communities. It could be obviously cold market, or it could be just people that maybe, I mean, hopefully you're not stalking them, but you admire them and get them to do it with you. And then when you get on a Zoom, guess what happens? You're like, oh my gosh, my friend is on the Zoom with me. And it is so encouraging, as you've heard us as we pass this off tonight. Like, we love to be together and we want that for you. We don't want you to look and say, oh, how fun for them. I want you to say, how fun for me. Like, how fun for me. So as I say that, it's so fun for me that I got to see Lindsay talk and Nicole and Aaron. Like, it's so fun for me. And it's so fun for me. Tracy and I, she is the only one out of everyone on the Zoom that I'm seeing tonight that I've gotten to see that doesn't live in my like hometown in the past year. And it was such an encouragement. We saw each other 7 months ago, which sounds so long, but y'all realize during this COVID pandemic, I'm like, yes, that was so recently. So I'm going to hand off to my sponsor and enroller, and love her dearly. Excited to hear from her because she is so systems oriented that I can assure you this is going to be one that you want to listen to and not just take notes, but you might want to actually be doing some of the things she tells us about as she tells us. So let's listen up to our last of the 5 daily things we're doing a day. This is our wrap up for the night of the 5th one that we'll be focusing on every day throughout the summer fun run. All right, Tracy, school us.
I love it. Thanks, girl. Hey, you guys. I am super excited to be on tonight. So much wisdom shared. I swear I've been like taking notes. I hope you guys are doing this. I hope you guys also remember you can save the chat. We will also have the recording, but I also am like so visual. So I love to see like the chat from everyone as well. So what I've been really loving about this summer fun run is the 5 things. The 5 things are just so easy and so tangible, right? Like very easy to implement every day. But I love that the 5th one is always focused on life steps, which is just like this awesome tool. And I'm going to get into detail and showing you how to use it. And here's what I really want to, put out there is we should be leveraging tools. Okay. So at this point in your business, right? Like we need to be leveraging tools. Why? Because they save time. They make life so much easier, right? When we leverage tools that save us time, that means we can spend more time, right, on the things that really matter in our business. So, if you haven't leveraged life steps yet, and I'm going to do like a really quick tutorial and really kind of show you, again, I'm super visual, so I'll share my screen and show you what I do. But this is something, right, to really think about. And I will tell you, rather than creating your own graphics, you can take some photos, but like focused so much on photos, right? Or searching up product information, searching up what's like the IPA that I need to do for today. All of this is in the Life Steps app. You may not know that. You may just have thought, okay, it's just pretty graphics and pretty photos. It is very, very comprehensive. And there's actually a lot of different things in there that maybe you didn't know maybe you weren't aware. But I'm going to tell you how to use this and leverage this for prospecting new people, for prospecting your members. I feel like we're constantly kind of prospecting our members too, right? But you can also do other things like, learn about the business, share things about the business, right? Or learn about mindset. So let me kind of break this down for you. And then I'll kind of show you like a quick tutorial is, life steps. What I've been noticing and how I kind of use it for business is, let's say I share a story. Okay. I'm sharing a story. Like I just did this recently. I was talking about sunscreen, why I love it. What happens? Someone on Instagram, right? Or Facebook, wherever I'm kind of sharing, maybe it's even in person, right? If you're doing in person, a vendor event, whatever it is, they'll ask you, well, tell me more about that sunscreen thing. I want to know more about it. Or tell me more about the Thieves Cleaner. I go into the app, search for sunscreen, grab the product information about the mineral sunscreen in Life Steps, and you can literally just copy the link and send it to someone. I've been doing that like crazy. Like, here you go, here you go, here's some great information. Like, could I do this with the Young Living, website? Yes. But I just feel like there's a bit more information in Life Steps that's very focused on sort of usage, why would you care, right? Like, it's really kind of like the content is really kind of written for the customer in mind, right? The prospect, the person in mind, because it talks about why you want to ditch the toxins. Why do you want to make the switch, right? I feel like so much of what we talk about is the ditch and switch. And so it's very easy to just grab that product information from Life Steps and then send it out. Do a voice memo, like Nicole was saying, right? Like, you can record your voice and go, hey, I'm sending you a link right now so you can dig deeper and learn more. Boom, you're sending product information. You can even do things like grab stories that are already done, right? Already done for you stories, or look up information on your own. Maybe you're like, I don't really know about the art skincare line yet. Guess what? You can go into the Life Steps app and search for that information. Then you can start sharing, right? If someone starts asking you, what's some great skincare, right? Like for fine lines, maybe aging skin, or spent too much time in the sun, you'll be like, I got it. Let me go look it up in this art. Let me go look it up in the Life Steps app. So I just love it just from an education for us, right? Like the constant product education that we need to do ourselves, but we can also just kind of cinch it up, right? Grab that link and share with the prospect. I've been sharing it actually a lot, just talking about prospecting your members. I share things from Life Steps all the time on Project Broadcast. Is anybody else doing this yet? So you can cinch things up, right? Like, and send things like as tips. I will often like include information out for people and send it out. Again, just a really great way to send the information where I don't need to grab something from like a Facebook group. I don't need to grab it from the internet. It's just all within the app itself, and it just makes it so easy. Within the app, it's also just like a piece of cake to, again, search up for something. So here's one of the 5 things that we needed to do a couple of days ago was search for the keyword dad. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, right? Then you can find products for dads, right? And then go and learn about it and share it. Do it for Father's Day. Don't you just love that tip? Just so easy to do. And again, it's this, you're constantly learning so that you can share. But guess what happens when you do that? You're also duplicating, right, for your team. When they see that this is what you're doing, you're not creating tons of graphics. And not knocking anybody who likes to create graphics. I've been known to create graphics myself every now and then, but really I'm just like, why? It's already done. It's already in there. I can just grab it and use it. I can spend more time on prospecting. But what a great thing to duplicate is showing your team, this is what I've been doing, right? I'll do a story. I'll be in person talking to a mama about lip balm. I grab the information about lip balm from the Life Steps app and just send it out to them. Like, what a great thing to showcase even to our members so that they can learn and duplicate and do the prospecting as well. But everything from product information, photos, graphics, you guys, there's a newsletter in there. I'll show you again in just a second. This is what I use. I will use the virtual office and I'll send to, specific legs every month, like on the first of the month. And I'll say, hey, here's your newsletter. Here's your supplement spotlight. Here is the DIY of the month, your diffuser recipes. I send it all with one link. There's a newsletter link that gets published every month within Life Steps. And again, it's just very graphically and visually appealing. Bullet points, not just like a dump of information. It's just so easy to learn that way. And again, I'll showcase to my brand partners, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. Sending out through the virtual office, sending out through Project Broadcast. It just makes it so much easier. The other thing that I think is really cool within Life Steps is just for your own, right? Like just for your own knowledge, you can learn about business things as well, whether that's learning about the comp plan or diving deep within that. Maybe it's sharing something about the comp plan or something from the business from the tool to a prospect. How many times do you have prospects who ask you, tell me more about that? Can you give me more information about like how I can do that too? again, you can use that tool and leverage that. Or maybe I am a task list person. Is anybody like this too? I kind of need that personally. There's a task list within the app itself as well, which makes it really, really cool. The other thing that I really like is resources. So I tell people all the time, I am personally not Google. I may know about things, but I don't like to go heavy into details unless it's like a personal experience. But I'll be like, I know a book about that. Maybe I don't know all the details about it, but let me show you. Again, within the app itself, I'll show you that you'll be able to see books, resources, right, that you can then refer out to people. If someone asks you, well, what about hormones, right? What about the thyroid? What about feelings? You've got resources in there that you can kind of send out. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. And then I'm going to also share with you one of my other favorite tools in just a little bit. So let me do this. I'm going to come on here. Can you guys all see this? Okay, so this is the web version of Life Steps. There's also an app that you can use on your phone. I use the phone all the time as like I'm sending things out to people. But there's a resources section. I use this section like crazy. So for instance, you could look up sunscreen, right? Here's something that I just did. I'll just show you. So there's the mineral sunscreen, view the resource. Look at this. Here's information all about the sunscreen, right? Just very simple, graphically appealing. It talks about the differences between chemical sunscreens versus mineral sunscreens, what makes Young Living so good, how to use it, very easy. And you can even download the image that you can then use on social. So very easy to use. There's also lots of other things in here. So they'll even pull in information from the Young Living blog. So for instance, mineral sunscreen from the blog itself, other cool graphics, lots of fun things in here. So just doing a search under resources could be an easy way to grab the products that you need. But let me show you some more things in here. You could also, there's a pro version. So here's the cool thing. Life Steps is free. So if you're not using something that's free, you guys get on this if you've not done it yet. But there's also a pro version where you get more graphics, you get access to other videos and content. But let me just tell you, the free version is amazing. So there's lots of cool stuff in there. There's videos, there's DIY recipes, diffuser recipes. This is the June newsletter. Let me show you what this looks like. So you see here, I can copy the link. You can copy the link right there and send it out. But there's information about the monthly promos. There's information on the supplement spotlight. I do a heavy focus on supplements personally, just because they've been really huge for me. But there's a DIY. There's the oil of the month. Look at this. Look at this content. How easy is this? Mineral essence. Isn't that so easy? So I love this. And here is a quick tip is I love to repurpose some of this content in my Facebook group too, for my members. But let's get real here. I don't know about you guys, but I find personally that a lot of people are not even very active in my Facebook group. And I think that's just the nature of how Facebook is going these days. And so if you've not tried it yet, I would highly recommend, again, sending things out, leveraging text, talk in person, get together, go, hey, did you see this app yet? Let me show you how to use it. Sending things out through the virtual office, like we said earlier, multiple modes of communication. But really, I feel like every member, right, should have Life Steps in their hands so that they've got the product education at their fingertips, but they can also learn on the go, independent of our Facebook group. So I love so much love that has gone into our Facebook group, like our team group. But again, people just aren't seeing it anymore. And you know what? That's kind of just the nature of how things are going as well, is I think a lot of people, right, are just, they're getting tired of Zoom. Maybe they're getting tired of social media just a little bit. And so, this is a nice app to kind of keep them all in there to leverage and look for information. So love it. That's called the Life Steps app. Again, there's a free version, highly recommend it. And again, it's fantastic to use for prospecting because you can grab information, send it out, use the graphics, but also phenomenal for prospecting your own members. If you haven't had your members take the wellness assessment yet, I would recommend this. So something that we used to do old school style, we would have someone fill out a Google form, tell us what your needs are. We'll create a 3-month wellness plan for you. I don't do that anymore. You know what I do when someone signs up? I say, here's the Life Steps app, right? In my welcome email, I'll tell them, here's the Life Steps app. Here's a link to it. Take the wellness assessment, and then you'll see a list of products that's going to be tailored just for your needs. Be sure to let me know what they are, and I'll help walk you through it, right? So that's just another way where you're kind of like putting the resources at their fingertips that I think is so important. Again, saves you time and gives them something independent of Facebook. So if you post something great in Facebook, that's awesome. But what if they don't see it? They've also got the Life Steps apps as a resource. One more thing that I quickly wanted to talk about, and I also wanted to give huge props to Miss Erin Rogers, because I had never even heard about it until she told us about it. And I was like, what is this? What can we do? And this is a phenomenal prospecting app. It's myYL.com. So if you didn't already know about this, you can create a personal website through myYL.com, and it's already connected to your Young Living account. So if you go under, in the virtual office, go under, my account, you'll see myYL.com there, and you can opt to enroll in it. So it is a paid service. It's $9.99 a month. Let me just tell you, we've been training our team, like we've been going bananas with this because it is such a phenomenal tool. And I want to preview and show you why it's awesome. So let's talk about the old way, right, of like getting someone started. You talked about, right, maybe the thieves cleaner, you talked about the oils kit, right? Like you've talked about different products. What did you do before? Here's my sign up link. They would go to youngliving.com, right? And go through the whole process to enroll. But if they needed to get specific products, that was kind of hard to do. Like you basically had to like sit down with someone or do like a call with them and show them how to do it. So this is why I love myWild.com. So it basically minimizes the distractions so that it's easier for them to buy. So I'm a big fan of you leverage tools to save yourself time and make life easier. I'm also a big fan of making it easier for our prospects to buy, right? So sometimes when there's too much stuff going on, it can be kind of overwhelming. Before I was in Young Living, I was in UX, which is like usability, web usability. And we would study people and how they would interact online. Why did they do things? What were their behaviors? Why did they choose that button and not this button? Okay, there's a whole industry behind how websites are made and how it's done. But let me just tell you, you've probably noticed this even in a class. Why do we have sign-up forms in a class, right? Because we want to simplify. We want to take out like anything that's overwhelming. We're like, fill this simple thing out and it's so easy to sign up, and we'll often even sign people up for them, right? Well, with mywild.com, what you can do is it simplifies the sign up process. So you don't have to wait for the new shopping platform to come out. You can do this now. You can create these custom bundles. So I'll give you an example. I just taught an online class with some of my members, with some of my leaders on Monday. We taught a summertime essentials class, right? We talked sunscreen, we talked Ninja, we talked all the different things that you're going to need, right? Bug repellent. And so I have my own link that I'm sending to my prospects with those specific products that I talked about in that link. So I'll show you what it looks like. But again, it's just a simple way. When you see it, it's like boom, 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 add to cart, checkout. Piece of cake. Just makes life so much simpler and makes it easier for people to buy. When they see too many things on a page, they get overwhelmed and sometimes they stop buying. So let me show you what that looks like, okay? Let me share my screen one more time. Okay, so this is an example of my summertime essentials. So for now, the basic kit is in there. It's a great deal. It's $25 through the end of through the end of June, excuse me. Here are the summertime essentials that we talked about during the class. So look at this. This is a link that I send to someone, they can easily just go select. Okay, I'm just going to get a few things here and I'm ready to check out. Next, right? There's their total. They can click next, check out. Makes the process so much simpler. When the new shopping platform comes out, it's super easy. You can just take out the basic starter kit in there. They can enroll, right, through the new process, but it just makes it so easy. And let me show you this. Here's just some examples of different enrollment packages that I've created. So here's my summertime essentials. Here's one that I was just working on creating for air freshener. Faves for men. That could be great for Father's Day, right? What about like laundry? That's something that I get asked pretty often, or dental care. You know, I just avoided a root canal, right? So I've been talking a lot about dental care. And so guess what I did? I put my favorite dental care products in a bundle here, and that's what I've been sharing. And so what's really cool is that you can even see, right, the views of like what people are doing. So something that I've done personally is if anybody is using Instagram as a prospecting tool, in your bio, you could create different links for some of these custom bundles that you want to create. Or again, you're in person, here you go. You're texting, here you go. You're doing a Zoom class like we did on Monday, here you go. So it just makes it really simple. So if you've not done this yet, I would highly encourage you to do it. It could even be like a fun activity to do with some of your brand partners, like coming up with your 10 favorites, right? What are your 10 favorites for summer? What are your 10 favorites for Father's Day? And working on that. So again, thank you, Erin Rogers. Love that. That was so insightful when she was teaching us how to do it, but we're doing it all the time. And that's something that we're teaching to our team as well. So that's what I got on tools this week. We could probably talk for a whole hour about life steps in mywild.com, but we're going to have more next week. I think I'm going to pass this back over to Ashley to close this out.
Yes, yes. It's been so much fun. We are summer fun running. I've taken crazy notes. I don't know if you have. Here's the thing, and I will tell you, we're all going to be different. There's 10 diamonds plus doing this together. So how you distribute this replay is on you, but we were going to have the recording, and we really want you to do these 5 tasks of these 5 areas of focus, better way to think of it, every day. So it's part of your life. So it's not just on Thursday, I'll learn about a tool, and on Tuesday, I'm prospecting. Tuesday, I'm doing all the Insta stories and the posting, and I'm meeting with people. Like, it has to be all the time. So consistency is key. It might not be sexy, but you know what? It'll look really good on you, because it looks really good on any of us. And that is something to be proud of as we go through our training this summer. So we'll see you back here. Same link, same time, different people, same topics, actually, but it'll be a different vibe and a different learning style for all of us every time. So make sure you make it a priority to be here. I want to thank all 4 of you amazing women. I am so honored to learn from you tonight. I can't wait to do it again. And we are running together. Thanks, guys.